You know. Then it's out through your nose. Hey, Baba.
Wait, in through your mouth, out through your nose.
No, through your nose, out through your mouth.
That's not what you. Okay.
Yeah, you're not doing it, but I'm saying it. That's how you rest your nervous system.
Through the mouth.
Through the nose.
Well, I guess you can tell I'm going to have to do a soft edit on that. But thank you so much for thank you so much for joining us. I didn't even hear it. I didn't even hear it.
We don't.
But I'm just. But guys, listen. Thank you so much. This is a special edition of my Crystal Loves Texas podcast. Say hi, everybody. Hi. And we want to especially welcome our guest who is not from, who literally just got off of a plane. Coming into Houston for this year's Pride celebration. Let's welcome her. And it is Chef Nina. Thank you so much, Chef Nina. But with that in mind, yes, we came on today because we've got a special presentation for you. And I am going to call her out on this. I am so glad that I always call her my adopted niece. Tiffany Scales decided to give me a call and say, listen, we got some people on that you guys just need to talk to. And I'm so glad she did, because we have got Chef Nina all the way from Detroit by way of New York. I said, yes, I got it right. I got it right. And we have got Dominique, Dom
Yes.
Collins.
Yes, we do. Yes.
And they are going to talk today about some really novel things that are going to be happening with this year's Pride Houston celebration. So, without any further ado, tell us a little bit. We're going to start with Nina. Is going to tell us a little bit. Dom.
No worries. No worries.
I'm going to get it right.
It's okay. Listen, this opportunity, I'm glad we're here. We got it.
But Dom is going to tell us about a little bit of what's happening on this Friday.
First of all, we have to say Happy Pride Month.
Happy Pride!
Thank you so much.
Yes, no, we are big Pride allies. We have had Pride podcast on since 2022.
Yes,
Since 2022, since we started. And you got to excuse us. It's a little bit hot in here right now. But that means that's that excitement.
Listening.
That's that excitement. But can you please tell us, Dom, a little bit about what's some of the things that are going on this weekend?
Yes.
And how they're different from some of the things we've seen before?
Awesome.
Yes.
First of all, thank you for having us.
You're
Thank you for
welcome.
this conversation. Thank you for this time.
You're welcome.
I've been in the Houston area since, 7 months now. I got here.
So you're new too.
Yes. I'm originally from Chicago. Just spent the last 14 years in the Bay Area, and now I'm in Houston and taking all the fruit and the wisdom from those experiences. So I'm the founder and creator of Mosaic Moments. And Mosaic Moments curates conversations and experiences that are immersive in order to maximize connection.
Wow.
Because I meet at so many intersections with so many different communities. I'm a member of Delta Sigma Theta, and so I think about the work that we do in the community.
Yes.
I'm also a member of the LGBTQIA community, and so I work in that capacity.
Yes.
There's business and tech and so many identities
Right.
that Mosaic Moments allows us to meet at the intersection. Conversations, community, connection, and cuisine.
Okay.
These 4 elements come together to create a mosaic of connection.
Absolutely. I love that.
So it's like how
poetic.
Right?
And the beautiful thing about a mosaic
Yes.
is that all of the different pieces make a beautiful whole.
Absolutely, they're different.
Yes.
They are different, right?
Yes.
And so, Savor and Swoon is the inaugural Mosaic Moments event. We were trying to figure out where do we want to start. It's Pride Month. We need to have conversations in the queer community that go beyond the misconceptions that we also see. We don't need to connect in a bar. We're not over sexualized.
That's right.
Love is important, and we like art, and we like fine dining, and we like musicians. So we have live performers. There's going to be a live pianist and someone who will be singing. There's an artist. There's Chef Nina who flew in to prepare a 3-course meal.
Yes.
And then there's conversations in that experience. So Savor and Swoon, Friday, June 13th, is an opportunity for folks
Friday
to
the
come out.
13th.
Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th.
Lucky
That's
Friday
right.
the 13th. This is where magic happens.
Yes.
So we're inviting folks. It's centered upon Black queer women, trans men, non-binary sapphics, and those of alike looking for a connection or dating or friendship. But really, it's the immersive experience and bringing their identity to this experience. So we're glad to be here, and we'd love for folks to come out. Also, the most important part that I missed.
Yes.
As a board member for the Truth Project, which is a LGBTQ community, a nonprofit here focused on supporting the LGBT community through different programs for emotional wellness, mental wellness, and physical wellness.
Okay.
A part of our proceeds go directly to that organization
Wow.
to support the Houston area. If I'm going to live in this community, I need to be a part of the community.
That's right.
This is my love
A
letter.
contributing part of the
Absolutely.
community.
So I brought
That's
somebody
right.
from Brooklyn to even share in that experience based on the Houstonians that told us how to show up.
Now, Chef Nina is going to tell us all about the excellent cuisine.
Oh
but
my
tell-
gosh.
Tell us now, if someone wants to, are tickets still available?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Thank you so
And when
much.
is it going to take place?
Perfect. It is. We got an event space because we wanted to curate the room the way we wanted.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
right. And so the event space is posted online. Follow us at Experience Mosaic Moments on Instagram. We're posting that information there.
Okay.
And Savor and Swoon you can find on Eventbrite. So Savor
Okay.
and Swoon is the name of the event. We have the VIP experience that starts from 6 to 7. They get
Okay.
the champagne toast, and there's going to be some light bites, and they get
Okay.
a gift bag. And
Okay.
then the main course dinner starts at 7 o'clock. Everyone will enter. The entertainment and the rest of the experience continues. And so we encourage people to join where you can, according to the experience you're seeking.
Okay. Now, Dom, I'm going to ask you again because I know my viewers are going to ask me again. How much are the tickets?
Oh, excellent. This is fair. We had conversations about this.
Yeah.
Okay. So the VIP experience is 100.
Okay.
We had early bird tickets.
Okay.
Okay, and people like to be on CP time. So we
That's what we had. The word there was had. Yeah, but there are no more.
And we had early bird tickets for the folks that showed up, and they took advantage.
Okay.
And now as general tickets, the VIP experience is 100, and it is absolutely worth it. We make
Yes.
sure every element says we put our hands in this for you.
And our feet.
Oh, my hands, I feel I love it. Right? Exactly.
Yes.
And then the dinner itself is 75, and so there's
Oh,
still
that's not
that's
bad.
the three.
Oh.
And every course, the first two courses come with a drink pairing that
Right.
is perfectly curated to go with the menu item, which Nina's going to
Oh,
talk
that's
about.
$75.
All that, do you understand
That
what I'm
part.
saying? So and when I was in the Bay Area, dinners like this take place often, but these are investor meetings, and these are
That's
these
right.
are the money making meetings.
Right.
And so when you want to bring socioeconomic wealth to the community,
Right.
first we got to be in the room with each other.
Yes.
Then we have to have the space to have these conversations. And by the way, I like eating, so a meal and that fellowship encourages us to stay along a little longer to explore what those connections do.
And this
Can't
particular
go people hungry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or complaining about some horrible food.
That's right. That's right. So it's worth it to fly in the best.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
how it's done.
One more thing I want to note is while they're not here, Stardust Co. is essentially the directing organization that is putting all the pieces together.
Wow.
So we partner with folks who have the skill set. I
Yeah.
designed the vision. I'm not a chef. I found the chef.
Yes,
I found
yes.
the producer. Stardust Co. curates events. So whether we are doing a drag show or whether we're raising money for folks or a nonprofit, whatever we can do, they partner with other orgs. And so they partner with us, and they're hoping to bring this to life. So this is a family occasion. We have all come together, and we're featuring at least 8 minority-owned businesses.
Wow.
Everybody we source. They're like, I think there are 8 to 11 of us that we flew
Yes.
in and that we have compensated
Wow.
for their skill set. So this is what community looks like. This is what
Awesome.
collective economics looks like.
Yes. That is awesome. Okay. You didn't tell us the address again. Do they need to go online to
They
get
do
the
need to
address?
go online.
Okay.
Yes, that would be
Savor
preferred.
and Swoon.
Savor and swoon.
Just like it, no special spellings.
Nope, savor
Okay,
and swoon.
savor
'Cause we
and-
want you to savor the moon and swoon in the ambiance. Come on now.
Okay. Very good. Yes. That's right. That's part of the ambiance. That's right. Now, we know that it's going to be a culinary delight. But Chef Nina is going to tell us a little bit about how she decided to come up with that menu. I looked at the menu, and are there 4 courses on there? Or 5? It's 3 courses.
But there's a
Also
VIP
VIP
experience.
Oh my gosh, it looked like there were 2 main courses, and I'm like, my goodness. Tell us a little bit about that menu.
Absolutely. So I'm Chef Nina Love. But before she tells us about the meeting,
Okay.
let her tell us about herself.
Yes.
That's
Thank you. Back. Okay. Okay. Yes. Tell us a little about yourself.
So I'm
Nina.
in love. The chef is not necessary. But
Okay.
people love to throw it in there, so I'll take it.
It's fun.
But
It is.
I'm in love. Originally from Brooklyn, New York. I currently reside in Detroit, Michigan.
Okay.
I have been all over the East Coast for the past 20 years, cooking and kind of developing as a culinary artist. I met Dom at Howard University.
Okay.
One of my East Coast stints.
Yeah.
I've been in Detroit for the past 3 years, and one of the things that's important to me is kind of like one, collaboration and community, and being in community with regards to business.
Absolutely.
So a lot of times as business owners, we stay in these silos and we literally kill ourselves.
That's right.
And so partnership and collaboration is super important to me. And so I am super excited to be here in Houston and collaborating with all of our amazing village community here to create this experience that one, I've been creating in other communities, but as a queer woman, it is really important to me for queer folk to experience luxury, to experience
Absolutely.
opulence, and to experience quality, to experience love.
She's a tourist.
I mean, and so knowing that that is exactly what the love experience offers, it just was like, it was a no-brainer. It was a yes win, never a like, oh, I don't know, so just grateful to be here with you, co-creating these magical moments. And so when I do these culinary experiences that are like what I call my signature experiences, what I call the cuisine is African diaspora fusion.
Okay.
So when I create menus, I always just pray that it aligns with whomever I'm co-creating with, that it just works. 'Cause I'm like,
Yes.
do nothing different. But I'm also flexible.
Yes.
Because I get artistry as artists.
You make it work.
We all,
That's right.
When we make art, we also have our vision. So
That's right.
it's just such a delight when the vision aligns.
Absolutely.
And so African diaspora fusion for me is this kind of a love story to our traditions around the world when it comes
Okay.
to diaspora. You know, we have Africa, we have the Caribbean, we have Central
Yes.
South America, we have the US in the different regions. And I love just being able to play with ingredients and dishes from all over those places to really have an experience where people sit down and they're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what? Oh, you read a menu, like, I'm sorry, what? Like that is the goal every time.
Right.
Because it literally takes ingredients and dishes from all over the diaspora and kind of like literally just puts them together like a Play-Doh ball. And then you get to like one, it makes you think. Like, oh shit, this is African and Caribbean and American and
All the flavors are
all
there.
The
Yeah.
flavors,
It's
the ingredients. It's literally this beautiful mosaic of a culinary kind of like history. And so I'm just really grateful to be able to have that gift and skill and desire and passion to tell the story.
Right.
And so that is literally what the menu is. You'll get a little bit of Creole cuisine, you'll get a little bit of Southern, you get some, African and Caribbean flavors, and it literally is just literally a combination of all of our culinary stories.
Yes.
That make things dance around in your mouth.
Oh, it sounds. When I saw that menu, my gosh, I'm not gonna tell you what's on it because it's a surprise. You got to come.
Is it?
You got to come to see
They
it.
can either follow us on our page.
Oh,
They gotta come. I mean,
Is the menu listed?
it's listed on the
Oh my
page as an
goodness.
incentive, but you
Yes.
can't eat the page. You gotta.
You
You gotta
salivate,
but
but
you
you
won't be able to savor.
That's
Okay.
right. Well, let me ask you this, Chef Nina. Have you had the opportunity to do these types of collabs around the country, or is this a unique, special collab that you guys are doing for the first time?
This is definitely unique and special, but not the first time. I think I started creating these culinary and artistic experiences probably in 2000 and when was COVID?
2020. 2020, yeah.
Probably 2017
Okay.
is when I started with a collective, an artist collective out of Miami.
Wow.
So, but my first one with them was in Brooklyn. So we did Brooklyn, then I did Miami several times, then we did DC, then I did on my own Detroit several times. So I've been.
Yeah.
Because it's always, as an artist, my vision is always to bring all of the artistic elements together. So bring the art, bring the food, bring the music, bring the dance, anything that is artistically like kind of like centered. I think is an amazing pairing with food and
Right.
beverages because it extends it all is art. That's why I
Yes.
call it culinary art. So what is this 2025?
Mhm.
So 8 years.
Wow.
So my question is, in my mind, you can't do any artistic vision. You can't separate the artist from the LGBTQIA community, right?
Can't.
Because
So much
90%
That's right.
of it is LGBTQIA. Sorry to say that, but this is what it is.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, very creative. Very
very
creative.
creative.
Yes.
You can't. The arts is them. They are the arts.
Yes.
You know.
Do you know why though?
Can you
Tell us, yes, tell us why.
Art,
Give us your analysis. Yes.
art is expression.
That's right.
And when you are constantly having your voice suppressed,
That's right.
your medium becomes a love craft. Because
Absolutely.
who else is listening? Who else can taste my food and understand
Absolutely.
what I took for this? Who else can hear my music? Who else can see my dance? And since no one else will listen to my voice, hear my music or follow that or taste my food. And so while she's been doing this for 20 years, my background was in corporate events, and they were doing this for
I can
12
tell.
white
I was
folks.
going to ask you about that.
Yeah, I'm used to doing this
I
on
can
stages
tell.
and corporate events,
Yeah.
and there's a soullessness. There's an objective in those rooms.
Absolutely.
When you bring it to the community, it's like family. It
Yeah.
requires more intention. And so while she's been traveling around, my goal is to first engage in a city and become familiar with that city,
Right.
and then travel to different cities where I always choose a head chef. And I'll
Yes.
take Nina with me as far because we both had a shared vision, but she was already living in it. Go to different cities, identify the chef, find the space, find the community, and always have marginalized members or the members of that community to be the vendors.
Yes.
Right? So it's a traveling ecosystem in and of itself. And this is, for whatever reason, God said Houston.
Right.
I've lived in other cities,
Yeah.
but Houston became the place. So this is the beginning. This is the continuation for you.
Dom, I'm so glad you brought that up simply because I was going to segue into that with the climate,
Mhm.
with the political climate right
Mm.
now in this country being what it is and what some of the powers that be are trying to move it towards. How difficult has it been, or how much more incentive did you have to have in order to create this, knowing that from the outside, it's like rocks are being hurled at the community in from every direction. But to stand tall
Mhm.
and to do what you do in spite of
Mhm.
all of that,
Mhm.
that takes a lot.
It does. You first by starting by remembering the giants before you. You remember
Yes.
the James Baldwin. You remember the Marsha P. Johnson. You remember the Nikki Giovanni. And how dare you feel the need to stand down in the convenience of a 2025? While it may
Right.
be inconvenience in the circumstances, you don't have the convenience of stopping.
Absolutely.
I can't not hear my grandmother, whether I'm black or whether I'm a woman or whether I'm queer.
Right.
Humanity is under attack.
Yes,
My
it is.
responsibility is to speak up. Cowering from being seen doesn't help the enemy
That's
stop.
right. That's
And
right.
so it is my responsibility to walk in light and make that light be seen by as many people as possible. And so cowering is not an option.
And I'm so glad you said that because on the way over here, Rebecca, I don't know if you're usually a couple of days or a week ahead of me on news things that are coming up, but on the way over here, I heard that the Southern Baptist Convention, literally just today, filed a lawsuit
Mhm.
to try to overturn gay marriage
Yes.
in the country.
Yeah.
They just filed that lawsuit. So where people,
Baptist Convention?
the Southern,
Okay, so
It's a collection of churches, yes.
right. So the
I
Southern
know they are.
Baptist. So
yes,
for those of the people out there who
Yeah.
don't know, the Southern Baptist Convention is a convention that has stemmed back all the way even before the Civil War.
right. It's not the
So-
African American.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
So, and the Southern Baptist Convention, they okayed slavery. Matter of fact, they excused it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, they wrote proclamations saying why slavery needed to exist.
Right.
They tried to deny women's rights to vote. They were super upset when the 19th Amendment got passed because
Right.
they felt like a woman's place was at home and nowhere else, and her husband should be the head of the household.
Yeah.
That type of thing. And then it's every movement that's come along that's going
That's
against,
progressive.
that's progressive, and it
Yeah.
has gone against their Christian stance.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the longest attack has been the LGBTQIA community.
Yeah.
They not only would they refuse to perform gay weddings, they've kicked out pastors and who have come out as LGBTQIA. They
Or who
kicked
support it.
Yeah, and if you were an ally, you were
Yeah.
also kicked out of the Southern Baptist Convention.
Mhm.
And for that community, for you to be ostracized from the Southern Baptist Convention is almost like death, because everything is supported around.
And they're very political.
Southern
Very,
Baptist.
very political.
So all of these, with them trying to turn over LGBTQI rights,
Yeah.
with them trying to, all of this that's going on now in the world, a lot of it is being spearheaded by the Southern Baptist Convention. As quiet as it's getting, they are against any kind of diversity
And they're
inclusion.
huge.
But their numbers within the
Right.
last year has gone down tremendously.
Yes.
Because the young people of the Southern
Are
Baptist
not buying
Convention,
it.
Oh God.
Are not buying it.
right,
Yeah.
have walked away.
Yeah.
You know, because they say, we have friends that are gay.
And you
We
gotta have the
friends
young
that
people
are
to keep
gay.
it alive.
Right, we
Yeah.
have friends. So now you're looking at people who I'll say that 65 or older,
Mhm.
who are still trying to push their
Agenda.
old agendas, when you have the ones that's 50 and under that says, you know what, we're out. That's enough.
Lena, how does that sound when you hear that? I have thoughts, but I want to invite. What is it like for you to hear what they're sharing now?
Besides making me angry, because mind your business, but also,
Yeah.
it reinforces the need for us to create safe spaces and to continue to pour into one another when it comes to our community, because literally nobody's coming to save us,
Right.
and it is our responsibility to always create home and create safety, and to be revolutionary, because that is kind of what it means to be a person of LGBTQIA alphabet. It's about creating, continuously creating a community that literally aligns with who you are as a spirit being, as a human being, to make sure this life that you've chosen to live feels good to you.
Exactly.
And so,
And it's safe for you and others.
Yes, and
Yes.
that's exactly what we are co-creating, is a space that feels safe, that feels good, that you are appreciated and respected and loved and wanted and desired. And literally, we not only want you to be here, we created for you to be here,
Right.
so that you can feel seen and understood and heard and appreciated and valued in a space, in a country, in a climate where everything else outside is saying X you out.
Yeah.
So
My reaction to that quickly is Pharisees come in many forms.
Right.
And Jesus didn't flip over the table because he was violent. He flipped over the table because of a righteous anger. How dare you?
Right.
Um,
A frustration.
and
That's
to
right.
use the divinity of these words, the precious nature of these words to fuel hate comes with consequences
That's right.
that are beyond this land. So that is for them to experience, because I'm not one to judge.
That's
But
right.
what we will do is, in the spirit of Nina, that we will focus on the matter at hand, that we will continue to look at the light, because the amplification of what we're seeing only leads to an evolution. The uprising is coming and the hypocrisy has been seen.
Yeah.
The younger generation has I'm grateful to be a millennial. We really were pushing mental health at a time where it wasn't really cool. And then right after us, you had Gen Z, and they said, you all didn't go far enough. And now Gen Alpha is saying, you didn't go far enough. And look at what we have done to them spiritually. Look at what we have done to them socioeconomically. So they be damned that they sit in a church where they can feel the oppression, they can feel the command of hate,
Right.
but they do not feel the relationship with source.
Right.
And so
Right.
that is where we devote our time. But I will repeat, Pharisees come in many forms, and they that know his voice. Whatever you worship, I grew up as a Southern Baptist Christian.
Yeah.
I am familiar most
So
with
you know
Jesus
what we're
Christ.
talking about.
Wow, my grandmother told me, I love you, baby, but you're going to hell
Yeah.
at 13. So I will
And that was
continue
echoed
to-
in so many households, I'm sure.
It was.
I'm sure.
And so eventually she
Yeah.
came around,
Yeah.
but I wasn't going to wait for her.
That's right.
So we have
That's
to
right.
continue to move ahead, knowing that this violence has existed. The violence against the kingdom has immense, and it comes in many forms. Whether you are an immigrant, whether you are black, whether you are a woman, whether you are someone who is differently disabled.
That's
That
right.
if you are not perfect, which
Someone's going to be the target.
correct, and God don't make
Yeah.
mistakes, so
That's right.
technically we're all perfect.
That's right. Someone is going to be the target.
Mhm.
And it's interesting that there are groups
Yes.
and groups who will try and rally each other
Mhm.
and find a target when a target doesn't seem to present itself.
Or you can't trick the target. Like right now, we're trying to be tricked into outrage in the streets.
And Dom, and I can't help, and we talked about this last week, Rebecca, on the podcast. Can't help but think about this. The LGBTQIA community has been around since the beginning of time.
Correct.
The beginning of time.
The beginning of people. Yes.
Yes.
We didn't choose this way.
Yes.
We didn't walk in acting this.
But here's the thing. Only in the past, over the past 10 years, have they become just a huge political target. You know what I mean? At one time, African American people. Now,
Mainly because she knows both of us are history teachers, and I'm very politically minded. But the reason they hadn't been a target in the past because they were supposed to be in the closet and stay there.
They were supposed to
Yeah.
be
And
quiet.
weren't staying in their place.
You can be here, but don't let. What is
it's
it?
the
Don't
same-
ask, don't tell.
It's the same with us as people of color.
Right.
That's
That's
right.
right.
But
As
long
long
as
as
you're
you're
staying in
staying
place.
quiet.
Yeah. Don't
Like,
say
over there.
So it was
works.
until the LGBTQIA community
Make
was
it
like,
noise.
we're not coming, we're coming out of this line.
that's right.
And
Yeah.
I don't care how comfortable or uncomfortable
It makes
are,
you. Yeah.
we're here. And you will not silence our voices no longer.
That's right.
I think people, and I really think it goes back, I think it's a fear thing, right? People fear what they don't understand, right? So for millennials, we grew up around gay people. Gay people are not a big deal to us. But for a lot of people that was before us, it's like, okay, it's scary because it's unknown. Right? I was just looking at a commercial. I was on Instagram last night and I was scrolling on a 1950s commercial where they literally had gay men coming, out of the closet, and the commercial was warning teenagers to stay away. Matter of fact, if you see gay
Propaganda.
if
Yeah.
you know gay, this was a commercial that was aired constantly in the 1950s. Keep your kids away from gay people because it's a mental illness.
Not the pedophiles.
Not
But the gay folks.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And they had a warning for children. If you know anybody that's gay, not
Stay
pedophile. If you know anybody that's gay, you need to run home as fast as you can and tell your parents. And if you can't run home as fast as you can, find the nearest bleacher. These people are mentally ill, they are sick, and they're going to pass their disease.
Find the nearest bleacher.
Yes.
To hide.
There's
This was 19. Y'all can go Google the commercial because
I believe you. That's what 75 years ago.
Yeah.
so
oh my gosh, it is.
It is.
That's
Isn't that something?
Not that far.
so then now you have these people who've seen these commercials growing up as
Indoctrinated.
kids.
Yeah.
Indoctrinated. So
They
now
taught
when
their
they
kids
see
and-
you,
yeah.
right? So now when they see gay people, it's like, oh my God, they're going to do something. That's where this whole drag, don't read to my kids in drag and the like. All of that stems from that.
but fear is taught.
That's right.
Fear is
That's
taught.
right.
And
That's right.
Fear is a tool for the construction of power.
Right.
And so if we as a community and as individuals can zoom out a bit and look at the landscape in which we operate in, this unfair monopoly board, where
Right.
depending on what player you are, you may be treated differently. And today is the Black people, tomorrow it's going to be the immigrants, tomorrow it'll be the women, tomorrow it'll be the gays, next week it'll be poor people. Like pick your audience, but you notice who's not in these buckets.
Consistent.
Yeah.
And if we would zoom out, we
Yeah.
would see
See,
Yeah.
there is one set of parties at the helm,
Right.
and that we are all victims to that. So what we're seeing is a revolution. And what you mentioned that happened in the 50s, the civil rights movement is what became a beacon for the labor rights movement with Cesar Chavez, as well as the LGBTQ community. So again,
Because
Black
they
people
look to the
laid
civil
their
rights
body on the lines because if we don't include everybody, few people listen.
That's
We don't
right.
get the luxury of just focusing on us. And also, by the way, we don't do that. That's just not how we function. We always bring people with us.
That's right.
So we're not at the helm. You notice the fragments because everyone focuses on ourselves. So we meet at the intersection of queerness. We meet at the intersection of whatever it means to be in this body as a woman,
Right.
and then what it means to be Black. And
Yeah.
those.
That's why we so dope, though.
But it's the deepening of marginalization. You don't understand my pain until you look at someone like you and they still say you're unworthy. And
Yes.
yet I see you in
Yes.
me and you can't see me in you.
Yeah.
And so we're seeing the cycle of that, but there's an uprising.
That's
and
right.
We need to lean on hope because we're seeing a time that we used to read about in books,
Right.
but now we're the book.
Right.
Absolutely. Ladies, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Yeah, y'all taking us to school.
This is what we do.
That's
We're not
right.
coming back.
Yes, y'all are taking us to school. And Tiffany is gonna go and grab our next guest. But what I'm gonna do is have you guys one more time to tell us the name of this inaugural event
Yes, yes,
that
yes.
is coming up on Friday. And I wanted to ask one more thing. Is it what are the appropriate ages?
Oh,
of people
excellent.
who can come?
21 and above is
Okay,
the
it's an
preferred
adult
age
event.
range.
Yes.
You can come single, you can come coupled, you can come looking for friendships, you can come looking for relationships. That's who the audience is targeted for. Again, Black queer women and who we are centering. But those who like to enjoy this experience are welcome. It is Savor and Swoon this Friday, June 13th. The location can be found at Experience Mosaic Moments on Instagram, where the information will be posted.
Okay.
And then I would love for you all to show up and show out. One last thing I want to say is
Yes.
across Houston, there are a myriad of Pride events that are happening. Those that have
That's
been going
right.
on for
That's
a
right.
while in the city that is dedicated to Houston. Every
Yes.
city has it. And then there are other events that are niche for various aspects of the community. Consider this to be one of those programs that is a niche aspect. Not everybody likes a dinner experience, not everybody likes live music, but for those who do, we love to see you.
Okay, so as a Black woman, I must ask this question.
Yes, please.
What is the attire?
Oh my God! Oh, this is every part. Yeah, so we need you to dress up. This is a dapper and chic amount. The theme is actually sun-kissed royalty. We in the summer, we want you to step out.
Yeah.
That's another thing. We don't have to always wear cutout jeans. Look like a music video. What does it look like to look nice, to eat well, and to
That's right.
toast to an occasion for a good cause? I mean,
That's right.
that's a mosaic.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've got to throw this in simply because I am a teacher, and this is something that is very, very near to mine and Rebecca's heart. And that is in the future, you all's collaboration seems like it's so genuine and so well placed that please consider doing something like this that can benefit or that can be something that really strives to uplift the young people in the LGBTQIA community that are coming along that sit in our classrooms.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not from their peers. They're having a hard time from their families.
Okay.
You'd be surprised. I know back in, way back when I was in school and when others were in school, it wasn't the way that it is now, but the peers are so much more embracing. The peers, they just mix and collect with everyone, which is good.
Yeah.
Because you hear about bullying, but I know I can tell you that I have not seen instances of bullying that is directed to the LGBTQIA community in my school since I've had
Me
a
neither.
classroom.
Like I
The
said,
kids,
Yeah,
the
being
kids are,
bullied at home.
yeah.
Yeah,
And then
that's
you-
different.
Yes.
That's different.
right. So
And
it's
it's made to feel that they don't
it's-
belong.
I tell Crystal this all the time, and sometimes it brings tears to my eyes when I think about it. I have had more children come out to me than they come out to their own.
I came out to my 8th grade teacher before I came out to my parents.
Yeah,
My 8th grade teacher
exactly.
knew because I was like, who's going to take care of me? And some
That's
kids do
right.
get kicked out. My question for you
Yes,
is,
yes.
as teachers, what resources are available to you? Or what do you need?
Well, we can make
Because the
time.
True Project, we offer programs. We're actually one of the only trauma-informed nonprofits in the Houston area for the LGBT.
Well, one of the
community.
things that's going on now, and I'm glad all of you all are here. One of the things that's going on now is the assault now is on trans kids.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Yes.
yes,
Yes.
the assault is on trans. And again,
Yes.
the assault is not coming from their peer.
It's not.
The assault is coming from parents.
Or their
Right.
community or their neighbors. Or
Right.
too close for proximity.
It's
Right.
It's coming from home.
And making them feel that something is deeply wrong with them. Like,
Right.
well, no, you're not,
Like
and
in the 1950s again.
right.
Yes.
Like, no, you're not a girl, you're not a boy, you're
Yes.
a girl. Deal with that.
Yes.
Like, that kind of stuff. And that's where I think a lot of the resources from the LGBTQ community, this is just a suggestion.
Mhm.
Yeah.
This is where it needs to go because it's a lot of trans kids
Mhm.
that are taking they're committing suicide by the boatload.
So what we need to do is, because you see them intimately.
Yeah, in the
If
classroom.
we are building programs, but we can't find, there's a gap.
Right.
How, if after this today, what does it look like for us to figure out what either would a program be or what are the existing resources to connect them? In the meantime, while we weave
To
this
make the
braid
connection.
together,
Yeah.
who are your immediate students that need help
Yeah.
and what exists, and let's try to help them where we can, because the what happens, especially in the Black community, I see other communities do this a little better than us.
Right.
They work together. They are very well networked and they communicate together. We can have 19 programs with the same problem,
I know.
asking for the same money, and not talking to each other.
I know.
So now we're fragmented. So if
Yeah.
we can at least say, who's the audience, whether we do an event, a conference,
A
we
program.
have the resources.
Exactly.
We just need to be in partnership. And I have a lot of educators in my family. It's very important. I came out when I was a very young age. And
Okay, you said 8th grade.
Yes,
Yeah,
and so
yeah.
carrying that has been heavy, but it's because I went through it that I'm willing to go through it again.
Right.
So
Right.
let me know how we can partner.
Make
if
that
we can.
connection.
That's what
That's
I did
right.
in corporate, but for corporations. Now
Exactly.
let's do it for community.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, ladies, thank y'all so much.
Thank you.
So much. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
And we're going to make sure that any of your information, we're going to go ahead and place that
Appreciate
in
it.
our chat
Yes.
to make sure that people have an opportunity to connect. And I can taste the food now. I can taste
Real
the
quick, I don't know, we keep saying
Uh-huh.
it real quick,
That's
real
okay,
quick,
go ahead.
but say this, y'all have picked a perfect spot in Houston. Houston is like the mecca now. I don't know, it's crazy
It's
to
so
me.
beautiful.
It is.
I've always looked at Houston because I've grown up here, but I've always looked at Houston as a family city.
It is.
And like, oh, this is a family city. To see where Houston has shot to now. The vacation city, everybody's trying to come in.
Technology, medicine, everything.
Oh my God.
It's
Like,
the diverse city in the United
It
States.
is.
And I
It
did not know
is.
that. I was
Oh,
in the Bay
yeah.
Area. I thought it was Oakland. No, it is Houston.
It
Texas.
definitely is.
Right. The most diverse in the whole country.
That's awesome.
Ladies, again, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And we're gonna do a little magic trick and make a shift quickly. But we hope to see you on Friday.
Yes,
And Savor and Swoon.
Thank you. Okay, go here.
Okay, okay. You see, we almost made that switch in 15 seconds, didn't we? We did pretty good, didn't we? But we want to thank our guests who just left. Thank you, Dom, and thank you, Nina, so much. We got to give them a hand. And we've got another two guests in here. Y'all know this lady right here. Y'all know her. This is Tiffany. Tiffany, our wonderful, 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 my niece, Tiffany Scales. I always call her my adopted niece. But Tiffany has been just a champion for so many years for Pride in Houston and for just human rights. There's so many things you do in Houston, Tiffany, with your nonprofit and making sure that people have basic needs like toiletries and things like that. And see, when do you sleep?
I learned to float. You know, you can go to the float spa
That's true.
1 hour instead of 8. I've learned to balance, but I am taking more rest and enforcing my own self-care. It's not to be hypocritical because I tell you to do it, but if I'm not doing it, it's not safe.
Yeah, and that's true, Tiffany. You know, I don't want to come out and say, Tiffany, are you taking care of yourself like you? Because you were going in 100 different directions at the same time. But I'm glad that you came in our direction today because you brought some wonderful, wonderful guests with you today who are here, who are going to really contribute to some of the new and innovative things that Pride has to offer this year.
Yeah,
So
in
tell-
a big way. I
Yes.
wanted to go back and piggy off the last comment though, Rebecca,
Yes.
because I remember last season, it got emotional talking about the things that y'all experienced with your students.
Oh gosh, yes.
What I know is representation matters. And so whether it's in the form of us showing up as volunteer
Yes.
or coming in to facilitate, I spent a lot of time in Aldine and HISD as a vendor.
Yes.
And just from the correspondence and the way in which we acclimated ourselves with the children, we were offered space to even get them to open up the bathrooms that were more accessible and
Awesome.
fixed
That's
for their
awesome.
students, right?
That's
So
awesome.
there's always a way, but the gray area and that
Yeah.
red tape, I want to make sure we respect because this is
Yes.
of educators.
Yes.
However, the Truth Project, I love. I've been a
Yes.
volunteer contributing artist for them since their commencement, and they really do have a program. They even have a popcorn fundraiser going on right now
Mm.
for their youth programs.
That's so excellent.
Right? So it's just so aligned that she got here today, that they were able to come. And I really hope to connect all of y'all with these organizations because they're so impeccable, as well as
And this is throughout the year, Tiffany.
it's every
This
day.
is-
Like
yes, this
Montrose
is not
Grace
just-
Place, they're
Yes.
collecting Black hair products. And they're asking for Black hands who know how to braid, twist, and just make young children feel, or young adults, like from the, I think it's 13
Feel good
to
about
18,
themselves.
make them feel good about themselves. Because
Yes.
it's nothing when you have somebody to do your hair and
That's
make you
right.
feel beautiful. It makes you sit up straight, right?
That's right.
And so there's some really impeccable organizations in the city that I've learned about over the last 20 years, and
Yeah.
some that are new. And I'm excited to let y'all know because as you are ally,
Yeah.
you also are, protective of the baby.
That's right. That's right. That's
So yeah,
absolutely
there's an answer to the problem of pop mates.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
awesome.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
letting us.
So with that in mind, Tiffany, tell us who else you brought for us today.
So let me tell y'all, I met this incredible being of
Uh-huh.
light several years ago in a poetry space.
Okay.
And it was just something about her voice. I was like, she ain't no regular poet though. Like, this is a woman who not only reads, but like she reads with the voice of the writer. She gives it so
Yes.
much poise, right?
Wow.
And then I learned that not only is she a reader, she's a writer. She has published several books, some workbooks, some
Wow.
helping you not, F up your dating experience.
Yes.
Anymore because of her own F ups in her experience. And
We've all been there, done that.
no, she went on this whole spiel, right? And I know that today's not that story, but as you learn more about her, you'll learn about plenty of fish and the guppies and all the ways in which bad dating experiences can allow a woman to teach others
That's
how to improve
absolutely
their
right.
experiences.
That's absolutely right.
But Zen Ashe is my friend and co-creator of All Things Beautiful in the city of Houston, and she has been a segue into making sure that we are enjoying our experience and energizing our lives. And I feel like the experience that we're taking place next Friday is going to be so beautiful because I get to bring in Ready to Exhale and facilitate breath work with the Summer Solstice Sister Circle that she's putting together.
Wow.
So I'm not familiar if you're familiar with the red tent.
No.
Oh, well, let's start with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
And welcome, Zen Ashe. Pronounce it again. Zen Ashe.
Ashe like Saturday.
Yes,
Yes.
very nice having you.
I'm doing great.
Okay. So tell me what words.
I'm gonna stop you.
Zen Ashe.
You can tell. Yeah.
Zen Ashe. Like how when people agree with the comment of peace or positivity,
Yeah.
and you'll hear them say Ashe.
Ashe.
Yes. So Zen is peace.
Okay.
Ashe.
Ashe.
And look at what a calming presence just her smile is.
Yes.
Thank you.
She's just sitting here and I feel calm.
I know.
Thank you. So, starting with the red tent. So years and years and years ago, I'm a reader, as she said, I'm a writer. I read a book called The Red Tent. And a lot of us grew up, especially in this southern area, kind of bombarded by the Bible and patriarchy. Well, The
Okay.
Red Tent is a book where the Old Testament is told from the female point of view.
Okay.
And the red tent originally, if we all were to live in a household, all right, and we're all, women and had a yoni, we would sync up our cycles. And so there would be a time when we would all be on our cycle at the same time. So in the past, they would have the red tent. That's where they would go when their cycle was flowing.
Mm-hmm.
And in the red tent, basically, that was their space where womanhood was honored, their voices were heard, celebrated, yeah. And everything that was that divine feminine, the older women were able to teach the younger women, the younger women were able to speak up and be supported and encouraged. So basically, the Red Tent is a book about that whole experience and showing from the female point of view what the whole Old Testament was.
Wow.
And how, so it's a very beautiful book. And so when I talked to her, I was saying, there are so many places where we are told to not take up space,
Right.
to be quiet, to be
less than. And so I wanted to, summer solstice is all about expansion. It's the longest day of the year.
Right.
All right. And ancestrally, it was a time when we would have celebrations as melanated people. And we would get together to basically realize that this was the longest day of the year and we were getting ready to transition,
Right.
into another season, and that we should reflect on what's already happened, celebrate what's already happened, support each other as we transition,
Yes.
and encourage each other. And so that was kind of a time of year where people did that. They did it at the summer solstice, the winter solstice, and the spring equinox. So those were like 3 times a year where ancestrally we did that for each other.
Right.
And it was also a time where womanhood was celebrated.
Right.
So, I woke up one day and I had never done anything like this. I've done a lot of poetry events and a lot of workshops, but I've never done a sister circle. And I feel I've only been to one in my life. It was virtual. So I've never even been to a physical one. So I wanted, I called her up and I called another lady that I did a Mother's Day event up with. And I was like, I want to do a sister circle. I want to have a place where women can come. We can feed them. They can have some drinks. We're gonna have some holistic juice. She introduced me to the caterer knowledge. So
Of
she's
course she did. Of course she did.
Your
Because
resources.
Tiffany has resources all over.
Like, yes.
So we're gonna have some cucumber water. We're gonna have some nice juice that she's gonna make us fresh, and then we're gonna have a DJ. We're gonna have her doing Ready to Exhale.
Yes.
I'm gonna do
Organization.
a womb meditation, and we'll have another lady that's gonna do some speaking just about not having to be a human doing, but being a human being.
Right.
And
I love
learning
how
how
you
to,
say that.
yeah.
Because I think that's one of the things as women, especially Black women. I think that's one of the things, the hardest things for us to do. We're so busy pouring ourselves into everything and
Everyone else.
that
Yes.
we forget and we neglect ourselves.
Yes, it's not even a forgetfulness though. It's a ask backward don't happen. We are always
Yeah.
giving.
Right.
Right. So we're
That's right.
literally
And we're
recalibrating the
expected.
mind. Exactly.
Exactly.
Expected to.
And then I'm noticing we're still passing that down to our daughters. Because I have friends of mine who say, well, no, you can't do this because you have this and this and this and this and this obligation. And the
Yeah.
first thing they'll say is, well, mom, but I know you have obligation,
Right.
and I see that mindset that we're still passing these down.
And a lot of times we don't know any better because that's what we've been taught.
Right.
Yes.
So, it's like
Yeah.
obligation is always first.
And
it's
me first is now.
Right.
Now.
Right, but it's never a me situation or rest situation. Even the girls are saying, "But mommy, I want to rest." But no. You rest later. We have this and this and this and this. So we're still teaching our daughters that
Gotta keep going. Gotta keep going.
right. It's obligation. It's everybody else. So
Yeah, so I agree with you so much. We don't, the title even, Reclaiming Solace.
Yes.
All right, reclaiming space. Because even sisterhood, I grew up where I saw a lot of other women as competition rather than support, rather than somebody I could go to and share my struggles with. And it took me getting all the way to 50
Yeah.
and actually going through initiation where I actually had in a sense, we had a group of women that met every week, and we were talking about issues related to, things we were working through, trying to improve our health, trying to improve our bodies, trying to improve our mindset.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever had a group of women that I worked with for 9 weeks. And I learned to trust and
Yes.
open up and not
And feel
be
safe.
skeptical,
Yes.
or suspicious.
Right.
And just to, they do it with Al-Anon and Narcotics Anonymous and all these other things,
Yeah.
but we don't. I have an experience where we come together just as women and say, hey, this is a safe space. Whatever's said in this space stays in this space. Nobody here is to judge. We are here literally to just speak our truth and that be heard and be validated and be supported in whatever we're going through,
Right.
because all of us have our burdens that we bear. And so when I was talking to her about it, she was like, I'm here for it. I'm excited about it. And so that's what we want to do on June 20th.
Right. Well, let me ask you this, and Tiffany, when you guys initially started talking about what the summer solstice sister circle is, I thought about some of my wonderful colleagues and friends that I work with. female who are part of the LGBTQIA community and how stressful it must be to have to come into a workspace and conform to what you are expected to be in that workspace. And then not to be able to release or talk about your feelings, not to even be able to feel safe around people where everybody else may feel that way. Why is something like this so important for people to be able to come to? Perhaps colleagues that I work with, perhaps other um, people from the community who are in that space of having to put on a suit. And I mean that figuratively. Put on a suit every day to go and fit in. And then you have to come back, and then there's a really small amount of time where they can be their authentic selves. You know, why is something like this so important?
You know, for me, it's Pride Month. So of course mentioning the community is imperative, and I appreciate that you were so genuine with it, right? Like your advocacy stems from family.
Oh yeah.
And it's been a choice that you've made.
Yeah.
But then she's always been inclusive. Like you have never not welcomed me, even though I'm a woman living the life of a lesbian. You have always been more drawn to the life I live as a healer, which I appreciate. And 9 times out of 10, you probably need to come get healed. And so this is for you because I'm serious. So like the unlearning that we are required to do to learn to be is ridiculous. And unless you know to go buy Juanita's book, pass one to the Campbell Rasmus and get learning to be, you won't. If you don't know becoming from, First Lady Obama, you won't know how to become if you don't be around people who are.
That's right.
Right? Like for me, it's just the English of it.
Yeah.
The am, is, are, was, be, being, like the to be verbs were such a staple learning at 3rd grade level.
Right.
Because that is when you finally learn to be yourself.
That's right.
In the process of doing, in the process of being, having, and resembling the ways in which we can come together. Like the image, all different colors and shades, like you deserve to come. Everywhere you're going to see me from this day forward is going to be a place where you deserve to come. And I say this statement in church. I say it, when I'm talking about sex, I say it to anybody because I feel like our presence need not be shrunk. I know I'm not going to shrink anything about myself or how I identify.
That's right.
And all the intersections of my identity, I'm going to show up with because I come with such a arrangement of being.
That's right.
At the same time, for me, this is so imperative on this long day because it's been a long fucking day.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yeah.
Right? Like all of us.
Yeah.
The time that we even have to devote to humbling ourselves to ask for an invitation. Humbling ourselves to ask for that, right?
Right.
But to know that someone can say, if you've ever heard the word petition, I don't lie. If you ever seen Tiffany Scales, I'm gonna tell you the truth.
That's
I'm
right.
a resource now that this one right here, it's not just, I just feel like I'm gonna put something together. No.
She lives
There's
and
so
breathes
much.
it.
There's so much. It's so much. Yeah. It's
You
an
know exactly what I'm
experience,
talking
right?
about.
Like I'm so excited to have been in a position to get a ticket to the experience this week because I want to savor the moment with individuals who want to serve.
That's right.
But I look forward to this because then we get to sit with each other.
But the question you have to hang on one second, okay? Because I'm walking back around to this because I want to make sure we drive this home. Everyone out there who walks in your shoes is not at the place where you are.
Maybe they'll never be there.
And that's why I said that makes me really feel like we need to express this for, like I said, people that I may work with, people who are just not in the place where you are, but still have a great need to feel like they can
belong.
They can belong somewhere
And contribute
you
to
know.
things.
So my question is how, and this is a legitimate question, why do you think we have such a hard time just being?
I think, well, I'm gonna speak from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I was raised by parents who were raised by parents who came through the Great Depression. They came
Mine
through
too, yeah.
the Civil Rights Movement. They
Mine too.
came through segregation.
That's right.
And they were taught that if you were not a certain way, it could be your life. It
It's
could
true.
be your
Yeah,
job.
that's
It
true.
could be you being outcast, even from your own community.
And
So
family.
you and family.
Yeah.
And so I remember growing up and my grandparents were educated. My parents were educated. That meant my grandparents were educated at a time when a lot of Black people couldn't read.
That's
So
right.
people would
Yeah.
come to them and have them read.
That's
So
right.
it was like, you are here and you are gifted and blessed to be here. Don't you ever
That's
show
right.
that you,
That's
yeah,
right.
don't you
You
ever, because
appreciate it.
because you represent us and you can't bring shame on us. You can't
Yeah.
bring, and so it was always, you got to do, not only do you have to do what's expected, but you have to do even more than what's expected. I remember growing up
Twice
as a little
as
bitty
good
girl.
to be half as good.
Exactly. You
Yeah.
have to be, my daddy told me, this is what my daddy told me, and this was harsh, and it took a long time for me to get this out of my head.
Mhm.
He said, you got 2 strikes against you.
Mhm.
You're Black and you are female.
Yeah.
And he said, you're going to have to be twice as good to even be considered half as good.
That's right.
And it was told to me it was a strike against me to be Black and female. Now add to that any other strike that you want to put, you know? So I think that we were taught we had to earn our acceptance, we had
Right.
to earn our worth, we had to earn our place. And even in our own family, there was always that, am I going to shame them? Are they going to reject me? Because I didn't get the A, or because I don't like the right person, or because I don't dress the right way,
Yeah.
or I wear too much makeup, or
Yeah.
my shirt's too
Yeah.
sport. They calling me fast, or what? It was
Whenever you
so
walked out, you
many
represented
things. Yeah.
so many
And
things.
so I think it took so long for me to say, okay, I matter. I'm enough,
Right.
just as I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the big messages I've had for the last few years in my shows, is to tell people, leave the outside outside, come in here. And when you're here with us, I want to tell you, even if this may be the first time you ever heard it, you matter, you're worthy, you're loved, you're important, just the way you are.
Now hold on now. Did it make you want to tear up when she said it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because I mean, just to answer your question,
Absolutely.
it's hard to be when you're so busy worrying.
Yeah.
And not worrying, but like worrying. Like this happened then, and then we're living in the past, and these things took place. And I'm not talking about the historic things that still we struggle from. I'm talking about like trying to conceptualize who we are is enough. And so the affirmations that comes after enough trauma. Like we are here because somebody got tired of being beat up. Right? Physically, emotionally,
That's right.
mentally, or occupationally.
That's right.
And so thank you. Right? Thank you.
Yes.
Because if it wasn't for the things that you experienced, I wouldn't be able to say, I got this real quick and got my life together. That you too can ultimately do the same thing for yourself, because there's so many opportunities where we have to say, like, woman is not constituted by what the society has taught us.
Absolutely.
That's first, right?
Absolutely.
You have women who fall in the intersection of trans experience, non-binary or gender non-conforming experience, lesbian, bi, straight, open, kink, like there's so many elements,
Exactly.
but more than what we do. Right? That's the issue. You so work on what we do, you don't allow us to be.
And that's who you are.
Exactly. And I can relate to that, right? Because I come from a very successful family, generations of success. And a lot of my people were entrepreneurs. So they were, millionaires in a time where Black people were on
Housing.
sharecropping.
Yes, ma'am.
So it was always built in me, like success. That's just what it was. I didn't have no other option but to succeed, because I came from a family legacy of success. And when you don't feel like you're succeeding, because that has been bred in you, when you don't feel like, it had been times I didn't even want to be around my own family, because it's like, y'all all got these accomplishments going on, and I'm still struggling with this, with that.
Or you don't feel like you're doing it in the right amount of time.
Right. And it's not that they've even put pressure on me. It's just that
It's all you see.
Exactly.
And you're comparing subconsciously. I'm not
That's
there.
right.
Yeah. So
you know.
And
That resonated. Boy, that
Oh, your
You know-
students need this one. Well, she's gonna tell me, get her to tell us about
I want to
all of
also
these.
mention
Yes.
a lot of what I do isn't just for me. You know, my mother is gone, my grandmother's gone, my great grandmother's
Right.
gone. But I realize that they lived their whole lives in the fear that we're talking about, in the shrinkage that we're talking about, where they did, I don't know what my grandmother really wanted to accomplish with her
Mhm.
life because she had a husband who would have knocked her upside the wall
That's right.
if
Yeah.
she spoke out too much, if
Right.
she
That
demanded
wasn't
too
her
much.
place.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So I don't know. Her voice, in a sense, was lost.
Right.
But through me doing something like this, there might be some grandmother's daughter, some,
Yes.
that will find her voice. And that's another thing I feel like, what it, they walk so we can run,
Right.
or we stand on the shoulders of greatness. All
Right.
of those things, it's like I have the ability and the option to give this space
Right.
so that other women that are coming up and here with us, they step out of those shadows, they step out of that confinement,
Right.
and they break out of those shells
Right.
that are holding them back. Because, like I said, I say this to a lot of people, I didn't break out of my shell till I was 43.
Right.
What if I could help somebody break out at
23. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
you know what I'm saying? At 25, at 30,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? Or even if they're older than me, but the point is, it can be done. And also, there's so much abuse that happens in our community, emotionally, mentally, physically, sexually.
Yes.
A lot of that trauma, women need a safe space to say, hey, look, you know what? I went through this
Right.
mentally, emotionally, physically, and sexually. I'm a survivor.
Right.
You don't need to believe all the lies they told you. You can come out, you can be healed,
That's right.
you can be transformed. It's a step-by-step process. It's not going to happen overnight.
Right.
But you can be whatever that dream that little girl had, that inner child is still in you. That dream that's in there, that dream can still come true, you know?
And how important is it for women who may be in a place where they feel as though they are not measuring up to what their parents and their families' expectations of them are, to make sure that they partake in this type of inclusive and supportive circle? How important is that?
I think it's really important. And I think that one of the things that I've done, I think is really good for you to sit in your private space, your bedroom, or wherever you are, and just have a conversation with God, yourself, with even your parents in your mind, and say, listen, this is my life.
Yes.
It belongs to me. And I have a right to live my life. I understand you made sacrifices for me. I appreciate those sacrifices,
Right.
but I'm not going to sacrifice my life for you.
That's right.
I'm not going to do that. I'm going to tell you, I appreciate you. Thank you. I'm going to even maybe pour some energy and effort into just showing my love to you.
That's right.
But that's not my life. I'm not giving my life to you. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to take my life and I'm going to use my life for my dreams, my goals. And you know what a lot of times happens when you do that? You become the best version of yourself and you
Absolutely.
bless them in the process.
And I think that's the problem. I think when people hear my life, my dreams, my goals, and what I want to do, people look at it as, oh, you being selfish, or you being selfish. And in a sense, you are. But the selfishness comes in because you can't show up for anybody if you're not showing up
For yourself.
for yourself.
That's right.
So, and you have to be the best version of yourself to show up for anybody else.
Right.
Absolutely. And then this is what I want you to do. Rebecca's going to hold up one of these Amazon bestsellers that you wrote, and I want you to tell us a little bit about each one of these titles, and if they'll be available for sale at the event.
They will be available for sale. So
Show
the,
that.
the first one that she's holding up is the Ultimate Me Planner. This is
Yeah.
undated.
Okay.
And it has personal and professional planning. Every week there is a reflection page. So it even has places to put your dreams down, affirmations, goals, and every month there's a journaling page.
Wow.
And it actually goes with my podcast. I have a podcast as well. So there's pages in there that are piggybacking with the podcast.
Y'all need to come visit the podcast. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm holding up the next Amazon bestseller. It's called Synergize Your Life. Tell me about this.
So that was actually the first book that I wrote. It debuted at number 9 in
Wow.
yes, in Mind, Body, and Spirit. And that's a guided journal. I journaled all my life. A lot of guided journals I didn't like because they were 365 days and they kept telling you the same thing. Like every time you went to it, write 3 things that you're grateful for. That's wonderful.
I know.
That's wonderful. But
I know.
after about the 5th time I've done it, I'm done. I don't
Yeah.
want to do it anymore. So every time you come to this, it has different activities. It does go with my podcast as well. And it's only 29 pages.
Yeah,
But a lot
like
of people,
that. That's a
yeah,
custom
it's,
book.
so basically,
I like this one.
yes,
It's not 895 pages like Rebecca reads. Yeah.
right.
So, quick question.
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is the first planner I have seen in my 41 years of living that y'all ain't no dates.
It does
Ready. Start when you're ready.
Start when you're ready.
Follow up when you're
I'm just like,
The thing is, I never used a planner until about 5 years ago. And it was crazy because I started using a planner when we were going through quarantine.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and everybody's like, well, you don't need a planner. And then when I started using it, it was so helpful. But then I was like, wait a minute, I don't need this every single day. So I created an undated planner because there are times when I might not come back to my planner for a week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
oh, this
So-
is a Rebecca. This is a
Yes.
Rebecca planner.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
basically, it's you know, it's very adaptable, and I'm also very, as a poet, a lot of writers, we're very creative. Sometimes we need a whole bunch of space, and sometimes we don't need that much. So it's got a lot of different
And you don't
pockets to
you
kind
don't
of
feel
put stuff in.
guilty if you skip a day and then oh my gosh, am I gonna be able to get back to where I'm supposed to be?
Right. Yeah. It's very flexible.
Because
It's-
planners can be very stressful. A lot of
There
people.
are
Right.
other stickers and stuff.
Yeah, it's designed for people like me that want. I really said this is a planner about structure and flow. Because to me, life is about structure and flow.
Yes.
You know, we got to, as a woman, a lot of times we don't like discipline because we think, oh my God, I got to make myself do it. But if we think about, I'm going to bless myself with the opportunity to express myself
Right.
when I feel like doing
Yes,
it.
that's the thing.
So
right
it's
there.
structure, there's structure in there, but there's a whole lot of flow in there.
Flexibility.
A lot of
Good.
flexibility. So you come to it when you want to come to it. You use it when it's beneficial for you.
Yes.
Because it's not about making the planner, in a sense, the God. It's
Right.
like I am the captain, and this is just my little guide that I want to use whenever I feel like
Yes.
using it. So it's very
Yes.
flexible.
And Tiffany, what are you holding up? What is this
I'm
called?
holding up the children's book she wrote.
And it's called.
You are wanted and loved because you are you.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And you know what? That ties in so much
With
all
all
the
the
Pride
conversations
Month
we've
and
had.
with Pride Month. You know, if every parent of every child out there, regardless of who they are, said this to their child every day, think about what kind of world we would have.
Well, you know, I had a lot. Okay, this book actually debuted at number 1 in
Oh,
social
goodness.
values 2 Christmases ago when I released
Wow.
it. Number 1.
That's awesome.
Yes. And it basically goes through all like your mind, your heart, your intuition, and all the beautiful parts of yourself that are
Yes.
unique to you and that you should be very proud that you have,
Right.
you know, and the talents and skills that you have inside of you. And even when bad things happen, even when you're rejected, that doesn't change your value. Your
That's
value
right.
is inherent. You were
That's
born
right.
with it, nothing can take it away. And so if you look at this, it's
I
got a
love it.
sun, it's got rain, it's
Yes.
got, you know, this is
Mhm.
night, this is day.
And a
This is,
roof.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So it's got, no matter whether it's raining or sunshine, no matter whether it's day or night,
That's right.
Or Pride Month. You got it.
you have your inner worth. You know, it
Awesome.
doesn't go away just because of circumstances. It doesn't go away because of situations. So that's that book. And this is actually an illustrated poem, and it actually has affirmations in it as well.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And what ages is this?
I wrote it for age 9, but I have 4 grandkids, so these are actually my grandkids on the cover. So there's 2 of them on the cover and 2 inside.
And who illustrated this for you?
I drew it out, but I sent it to Fiverr for them to make my drawings look like something.
Right, right.
So
They had to clear it up.
Yeah, they had to take my kind of stick figurey drawings and make it look like I wanted it to look. So yes.
So now I'm looking at two more
Okay,
over there.
so
Tell me about those.
This one actually debuted at #1 in poetry. This is actually a poetry prose memoir.
Okay.
So I actually began it when I was writing the Energize Your Life book, and I couldn't stop writing it.
Wow.
So this
I love that about you writers. I love that. I love that.
if you see that there's a fish right there, so I was raised in a very kind of conservative family.
Yes.
All right. So I kind of got married having no experience with men, very little advice about men.
Yeah.
So when I got divorced, I was like, I'm going to do some dating. So every time you see a fish that's a guy, all the guys have nicknames.
I
So
love it. That's
You
so
go to how
cute.
many dates?
okay, in 10 years, I went on 174 dates.
Wow.
This covers 7 years, and there's 100 dates in this book.
Girl, you like being around them like that? Jesus.
I think she 2 birds, 1 stone.
Well-
One in the deal or something.
Whenever you see pins, there's actually a poem. So there's about 98 poems in each book.
98 in one book.
And at the end of each chapter, there
And
is
the
a
identity has
lesson.
been changed to
Yes.
protect.
All the guys have nicknames, so you can't tell unless they come and tell you who they are. Nobody would know.
And they would know themselves.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's very descriptive.
Okay.
So
Girl,
at
I
the
get
end,
that book just for the sake of you.
yeah, it's a wonderful.
I
A lot
love
of people love it.
It seems fun.
So
Fun
at
book.
the end of every chapter, there's a lesson. So there's 26 lessons. Each chapter is it goes alphabetically. So the first chapter is attitude, and the first lesson for chapter 1 is stop being a rose, be the whole damn bush.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this actually goes what we were talking about value. I was raised Catholic,
Yes.
and we were told when we were little girls, you are a rose, and if you give your petals to these men by being
Right.
you'll be
And some
sexual. When you get to wanting to be married, you'll have just a stem and some thorns
And
that
that's
you
right.
to offer. Exactly. So we were taught
We gotta learn that
basically,
in Christian church.
Yeah.
we were taught basically that your whole value, your complete value was in your sexuality, your
Yes.
virginity.
Yes.
And so when I got divorced at 43,
Yeah.
in the back of my mind was the fact that I had nothing to offer the next man.
Right. Right.
And I had a man, this guy who became my friend with benefits. And I said to him, I don't feel like I have anything to offer you. And he went through this whole list of all the things that I offered him. He goes like, where did you get that idea? And I told him the rose doctrine, and he was like, girl, you're a whole damn bush. You're a whole garden. What are you talking about? And it was a man telling me that. And he was like, you are encouraging. You have cooked for me. You have been so supportive. He was like, you bought me a Father's Day gift. You ain't even my girlfriend. He was like, you don't even know how giving you are. You are giving,
It took
generous,
someone to tell me this
honest.
about
He was
yourself.
like, you listen.
Yes.
You have
don't judge.
insight.
Yes.
He was like, you are smart. It was like that helper. You is smart. You is smart. Yeah. And I'm sitting here tearing up, crying like a baby because this is the
Sorry.
first time
Yeah.
somebody has told me, you're
your value.
honest.
Of your
Exactly.
value.
And he was not worried. He was like, I don't care if you've been with 10 men or 2.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? He was like, you have more to offer than almost any woman that I've ever been with.
Right.
So why are you worried about the fact that you're married and divorced?
Exactly.
And I was like, oh,
You were
my
labeling
gosh.
yourself.
Yeah.
You were labeling yourself.
And so
But I
that's
think
another
that's
thing.
also for society, right?
Yes.
It's patriarchal system
Yes,
that we
ma'am.
live in.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
know, your worth, if you, after 25, your worth is diminished, right?
That's what they try to tell
You
you.
know, they'll tell you that after a certain age, you're old, you're washed up, you're useless.
Yes.
You gotta take whatever you can get
Yeah.
because, your value as a woman is in your youth.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and then people are getting these messages, and this is in 2025.
Yes, ma'am.
On social media.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Constantly.
Oh yeah.
So, you have men putting younger women against older women.
Yeah.
And, trying to, it's
just very, 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 very
But
toxic.
a lot
Very
of people
toxic.
don't understand. Do y'all not understand this is patriarchy? Like,
Mm.
this is how the patriarchal survives. when we
Right.
do stuff like yes.
But we didn't know. Like, I had never had anybody say that to me. You would think I had a college degree. I have raised 2 children
Right.
to get a high school diploma and go off to college. And I'm
Right.
still thinking that I have no value because somebody told me at
No,
11 or 12
yes,
years old
yes.
that I'm a rose. And if I give my sexuality away, then I have no value. And I haven't unlearned it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They say, train a child up when they're young,
Yeah.
and when they're old, they won't depart from it. But that's negativity and toxicity too.
That's right.
Because
That's
we
right.
have to unlearn those things. So in this book, you actually see me unlearn
Wow.
at least 26 major things that totally changed my life. That was the first one. So every single time you read a chapter, you see me unlearn something. And so there's at least
Wow.
26 major lessons that I was like, I never believe that again. You know what I'm saying? I would
Wow.
never believe that again. And so there's a lot of women that have gotten this book when they're going through a divorce, when someone dies, when their kids go off to school, when they reinvent themselves, when they start a business. That you see me learn all of these things from all of these different aspects
Yes.
about life, about myself, about what I was taught, and you see me grow in this 7-year period.
Yeah.
And you also, this is real because like a lot of this came from my journals.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? So you see me exactly the way I was thinking at that time
Yeah.
and how my thinking changed over time.
Yeah, and one of the things I was telling my best friend last night, one of the things I had to unlearn that we always say beauty fades. And I'm like, wait, it don't. I said, I was like, wait a minute, but you got people that are, physically, we was just having a random conversation. I said, you got people that are literally beautiful from the cradle to the grave.
That's true.
So,
That's true.
where do we get this from? Like, beautiful, it does not.
It's a
Well,
page.
it's open your mouth and do
Because
yes.
if your attitude don't match your
Right.
style, then you ain't so
Right.
cute.
That's
anymore.
right.
But yeah, we were talking about the physicality
Absolutely.
of it. I was like, but look how many women at our age, in 40s and 50s and 60s, are buying into that because they're no longer beautiful, because they're no longer younger, that they have no
Yeah.
beauty in them.
Make sure you divide those two, because they're no longer younger. But who actually came up with that thing? I bet a woman didn't say
Shit, 'cause these women,
Right.
some of these women in their 70s and they look great.
Exactly.
That's
But that's what I'm saying. But those are some of the things that we have to unlearn
That's right.
that we have
Been
been
passed down.
that's
Yeah.
been passed down to us forever.
Yeah.
Now,
So let me
Yes.
tell you the last one.
yeah.
So this was, you can see that these books look very much alike. You see she had no eyes on this one and she's got eyes here. And you can see that there's a storm and there's a red flag. So I ended up in a relationship with a narcissist. So this book is set up the same way. It revisits some of the things that happened in this book. But at the end of the book, it actually has an index of 80 manipulative things that people can do to you.
Oh my goodness
And
gracious.
yes.
Wow.
And so basically through this book, you get to see my 7-year experience with a narcissist who came in and out of my life, in and out of my life. And you can see how after this ended, I was able to, through therapy, see all of the different
yes.
You had to go
Yes.
to therapy to get
Oh
that.
yeah, all the different things that he did, all of the different things that he did. And so I was able to label it, name it, and then put the page number on here so you could come back to this and say,
I've been there. I've been there.
Yeah.
How powerful was it for you to make it a tangible thing and not absorb it as a fail
it was,
or waste
I
of
don't
time?
even know
Yeah.
how to explain it. Yeah, and that's another thing. People say, okay, you went on all these dates, but you're not married. But honey, I don't need to be married. I spent 17 years of my life married.
Yeah.
I got 2 books out of it, and I got all of these life lessons
That's right. That you can share.
that I can share. And these 2 books are changing lives. I've had women buy this book, come back and buy 2 or 3 copies. My girlfriend needs it. My mama
Yes,
needs
birthday.
it. My aunt needs it. You know what I'm saying?
Before I forget this, are these available on
They're on Amazon, and I'm working on the audiobook for this one.
Okay.
So you can listen to the first
On
15
Audible?
chapters. I'm
On
working
Audible,
on it. It's good.
yes.
Yeah, it's gonna be on Audible probably next year because I'm still
Okay.
working on it.
Okay, but
Yes.
they can get the digital copy.
They can get they're free on Kindle Unlimited. So actually, they're free on Kindle Unlimited. And
Wow.
yes,
We need
and
to
they
make
can
sure
get the physical
we get,
copies.
we get that in there.
Yes.
You told us a mouthful. I love exactly when you start talking about
me go back and talk to your 17-year-old son. Because that's about the age where we start coming really into womanhood.
Right.
So what would you tell your 17, if you was sitting with your 17-year-old self right now, what would you tell?
I would say don't abandon yourself. Don't, because I feel like I spent my whole adulthood abandoning myself, just losing myself to please everybody else.
Right.
Keep your dreams and goals in mind and realize if you follow that, even though everybody's telling you it's not going to work, even though everybody's telling you you're being silly or you're being impractical, if you follow your dreams and goals, you will have the life that you want. Because what they're telling you, they told me, go to college, get a job, get married, have kids, you'll be happy.
Exactly. That's what people are told. That's what people
That
are told.
did
And that's your
not,
life.
that was misery.
Yes.
Now, there
yes.
were great things about being a mom, and there were great things about being a wife.
Yes.
But if you have to abandon yourself to do those things,
Something's
for me, it ended up making me feel like I didn't even want to get out of bed some days.
Right. Right.
Because I just felt like I was doing everything for everybody else, and none of this mattered for me, and I didn't even feel appreciated. My sons are grown now, but they appreciate me so much more now.
Right.
That I
Yes.
said no, and I have some boundaries,
Joy.
and exactly
Yes.
that I'm happy.
Make them want to look for healed women.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They appreciate me so much more now than they ever did when I was bending over backwards, doing everything and trying to give them everything I didn't have.
Yes.
Men that come into my life appreciate me so much more now
Right.
when I got those boundaries and I cut people
Like,
off.
no,
That's
You know what I'm saying?
I'm not.
Yeah.
No.
Yes. So I didn't even know that I was letting myself be treated so poorly.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
co-signing my bad treatment by just thinking, like you said, it's selfish for me to say no. It's selfish for me to have boundaries. It's selfish. It's selfish. And when I started saying no, I want this. I need this. This is
Right.
important to me. Then you know what? All of those things started happening.
Yes.
And I ended up getting everything I asked for just because I spoke up. Now, I didn't always get it the first time. Sometimes I had to cut some people off until I found some people that were actually on the same wavelength as me.
Right. Right.
Because some of the people that were in my past that were used to me being walked all over,
Right.
they were upset when I
Right.
started saying no and started, putting up some boundaries. So I realized that sometimes you got to let some people go, and then healthier people come into your space.
Right.
People who expect you to have boundaries, people who expect you to not always be
Exactly.
available.
Exactly.
So that was another thing. Stop being afraid of what you're going to lose by keeping yourself important.
Then, gotta ask you this. I'm glad Tiffany said this. Tell us how we can tune into your podcast.
Sure. My podcast is called the Zenergy Podcast. It's Zennurgy.
I see your thing here.
I made up that word. Of course, Zen is peace, and I believe everybody has the urge for peace and fulfillment in life. They just don't know how to get there.
Yes.
And everything I do is about how do we get there. Even this event is about how do we get there.
Okay.
You know.
And we're gonna find out a bit more about the event, the dates, and all of that.
Yes.
She's
And
gonna-
so
Yeah, absolutely.
basically, you could Google the Zenergy Podcast. You could Google me, Zenashe, Zenase. It's 2 words.
Okay.
So if you Google me, my podcast will pop up. The books will pop up. So. But I do have a link tree, so it is. She'll probably put it in the
It's
show notes.
Linktree/Zenashe.
All right. So, and that has all of my YouTube, my Instagram, my Facebook, my TikTok, and it has all my books. And also, you can get tickets to the event on my link tree as well. It's also on Eventbrite. There's tickets.
Oh, we
to the
see the
event.
price is $25.
25. Yeah.
Okay, and is seating limited? I mean, is there a certain amount of people that your space will accommodate for Friday?
For Friday, the seating is it accommodates about 65.
Okay.
All right. So we have, but I want people right now. We're not even close to the 65 number, so please get your tickets.
Okay, and definitely, that's
Yes.
awesome. This is awesome. And Rebecca, what did you want Zen to tell us about again?
Oh, she said it already.
Just know
Okay.
that where
Okay.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's June 20th. If you're in the Houston area, it's on the north side near Greens Parkway. So you exit Greens Road and you take a left at the first light. It's in a strip center. We're gonna have security there. We're gonna have catered food. We'll have
Shout out to Women Knowledge. I'll be there.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes, we're gonna have a DJ. We're
Everything
gonna
for that price?
Yeah, I
Oh
mean,
my
to be
goodness.
honest, I am how could you say I am invested in the women because it's gonna cost me more than what I'm charging.
Of
You know,
course.
it's
That's
gonna
what I was
cost
gonna
me
say.
more. Unless we get the 65. But at the point right now,
Oh, we're gonna get you to 65.
Amen.
that's beautiful.
That's why we get you to 65.
Yeah.
We're gonna get you to 65.
Yes, yes.
We're open.
And if you would like to sponsor a woman in your life or a young person in your life who deserves
Yeah, what are the age range?
13 and up, because we're
Okay,
we're really
okay.
wanting for younger women to come out because we want them to be trained and to
Early.
get early that it's okay to take some time and space for yourself. It's okay to start putting rituals in your life of self-care, whether it's breath work, whether it's meditation, whether it's we're gonna talk about some tapping, we're gonna talk about, different things that you can do.
And this is
That-
for all women.
This is for
This is for you. Yes, all women. Yes,
Mhm.
yes. And so ladies, bring your daughters.
Yes.
Bring your mom. This is
little
a
girl next door whose
generational.
mama passed.
Yes.
Right. This is the
village.
generational
It's
thing.
the village.
Absolutely,
Can you
absolutely.
imagine an
Exactly.
educator doing this? Thank you.
Let me ask you this: are you an educator by trade?
I am. I've taught for 31 years.
Oh my goodness gracious! So are we.
Welcome to the team.
It's Zen for all of us to be here.
Welcome to the
Yes,
team.
yes. And I wanted to say to ask you this: are you having, if someone has a product or something, are you having vendors in your space?
I only have 2 vendors because I really wanted to keep it to where
Focused.
people are, focused.
Exactly.
But I am gonna have a table where if you have cards or things like that, I do want women to know what other women have to offer.
Right.
So if you have cards or
But you just
brochures
don't
or
want
things
the
like that,
distraction.
yeah. So we're gonna have the first 40 minutes is gonna be getting food, networking,
Got you.
kind of looking at because I'll have my books out and I'm gonna have a beautiful lady, BB's Teas is gonna be there. So so she does holistic teas.
Yeah.
All right. And so those are basically gonna be the only 2 vendors there, but I will have a table where if you want to put your cards out or brochures or even samples of what you have, you can put that out for women to look at, to sample. And
Awesome.
then after that first 40 minutes, we're gonna actually go into the event,
Oh, that's awesome. And the event is going to be approximately what, an hour and a half?
It's
2 hours?
7 to 10. So
It's
7
on
to
the
10.
flyer.
It's on the
It's on-
flyer,
Oh, I see
7 to
it.
10
Yes,
on
yes.
June 20th. And like I said, you can get your tickets on I have hiccups, excuse me.
That's
You can
okay.
get your tickets on Eventbrite or on
Great.
my link tree. And definitely, like I said, bring, we want generations to be there. We want mothers and daughters, sisters, aunts,
Yes.
nieces. We want family to come together because this is about healing. This is about, we're gonna have some tissue boxes there. And this is gonna be a comfortable event. Dress in whatever makes you feel like a goddess. If that is your pajamas and you want to
I
bring a
love it.
blanket,
I love
and a pillow, that's fine. If you want to be decked out, that's fine too. Because when we get to the circle part, we want people to be comfortable. We want them to be able to feel like I'm here to just relax and to just share my truth. If you feel like sharing, and you don't have to share. You know what I'm saying? So there'll be space if you want to share, and if you don't want to share, you can just take in the vibe.
Well, I got one last question for you. Is the circle going to be the type thing that you're going to start hosting more than once a year?
I plan on doing it 3 times a year.
Great.
So
Yeah.
winter solstice,
solstice,
spring
yeah.
equinox, I can't even say it. Winter solstice, spring equinox, and
Excellent.
summer solstice.
Excellent.
So I want to start doing it 3 times a year because I feel like once we get it started, it's going to be one of those things that women look forward
Oh,
to,
exactly.
and they invite more people to,
Exactly.
and we
Yes.
make it bigger.
Yes.
And then also at the very end of the event, I'm going to have a little card that women can fill out. What do they want to see at the next one? Do they want sound bowls? Do they
Suggestions.
want suggestions? So that it can be very personalized. So each time you come, it'll be a slightly different experience. And I feel like we don't know what there is to help us with our healing. We may have heard about sound bowls, but we never experienced it in person. We may have heard about breath work, but we never experienced it in person,
Right.
especially in the minority community. You know, so I want to expose women to different things that could help them
Right.
and that are not something that's going to cost a lot of money because you can breathe anywhere you are. Like she's got, you know,
You can be shallow.
Yeah. Yeah,
You know,
so-
but I've got to. I keep saying that this is the last thing I'm going to ask you because I don't want to. I know everybody's hungry. I know you're probably hungry. You got to get out of here. But you've got to tell us a little bit about your teaching background.
So
31 years.
yes, ma'am.
That's high school.
So I taught
Here in Houston.
in Houston.
I'm
Oh, my
struggling at
goodness.
year 14.
I hear you. Okay, so
Awesome.
I taught 29 years at Albany High School. I
Wow.
taught from 9 to 12.
Yes.
And
What subject?
also English and also
Okay.
ESL. And I also did, you know, the electives, like I've taught, you know, study habits and
Yes.
mythology and multicultural literature and all these other things.
Yes.
And then I took a year off and I did some subbing and I worked in Spring ISD.
Okay.
And then I came back full time and now I'm doing 8th grade at Plummer Middle School.
I'm an 8th grade teacher.
I'm 7.
8th grade is woo! I thought they were gonna take me out of there.
Okay. But let me tell you, I'm so glad I asked you that last because you know I'm gonna share this we're gonna share this. We're in a teacher group. And we're gonna share this with our teacher group because they need it. They need it.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So then how is teaching for you? Like,
Well, I love teaching high school, but after COVID, things were very different.
They
The
were.
kids came back very apathetic. They didn't want to do any work.
Yes.
A lot of discipline problems. I had never had
Yes.
discipline problems. I never,
Right.
ever had discipline problems.
Right.
But that was the first time that I actually had a lot of discipline problems. And it got to be so bad where I was like, okay, I need to leave before I go off on one of these principals or one of these children or one of
Right.
these parents. So
right.
that's why I kind
She's
of,
been there, done that.
yeah, I retired for, you know, about a year. And then, like I said, I went back and I did some subbing. It's very different. 8th grade is
It's a challenge.
it's very challenging. It's more challenging. I had my last year that I taught, I had 210
Yes.
high school students.
That's a
I
big-
only
that's a
had
big-
78 middle school students, but those 78 tired me out more than those 210 did.
And see, we're middle school. We're middle
And
school.
see, I have the worst grade of them all. I have 7th grade.
I have 8th grade. I
So
love my 8th graders, but you know what? You get, what do they call it? You get
You acclimated.
not acclimated,
You adjust to it.
but it's an adjustment, but it's an acquired.
Oh, an
taste.
acquired taste.
It's an acquired taste.
well, I
Yes.
tell people, I don't care what age, race, ethnicity. When I tell people I teach 7th grade, how do you do that?
They do that for middle school.
Absolutely.
Period.
Yeah, but you know, they say that 7th grade is the worst out of all grade levels everywhere.
Yes.
So it's just, and they're not lying, because they are. I know, I know.
Yeah,
But
it's-
somehow I've mastered it because I've done it for 10 years now. So it's just like,
Well, it's difficult.
Sounds like you can find yourself in a circle.
Well, then, I know. Well, Zen, I want to thank you so much for coming out and sharing this with us. It's something that I've never heard of, but my goodness, Rebecca, it sounds like your circle's similar to what you used to do with your class.
Yeah.
And those are very, very important. I'm so glad that, Tiffany, I'm so glad that you said, you know what? She really needs to come on that podcast and share this.
Yeah.
you know, people don't feel
Yes.
too me.
She will.
Yes.
Next, you're gonna talk to
Yes.
Stardust Co. So Stardust
Okay.
Co. is an amazing coalition of individuals who represent different areas of the intersection that they identify as.
Yeah,
And
okay.
these 3 individuals are putting together intriguing events. They have Black and Quinky, where individuals who live a sapphic life, a non-gender conforming, trans or lesbian or woman of color life, and they're interested in exploring the liberation of their sexuality.
Wow.
You learn language, you learn about the importance and the requirement of consent and how to navigate play. when I say you deserve to come, I do mean it sexually just as much as I do physically. But sexual health for me is so necessary because, as you all have seen, they're active. The parents and overseers
Oh, the
aren't
kids,
acknowledging how
yeah.
active they are.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be active, let's activate the awareness and the responsibility of how to do so safely. And so
When we
whereas
tell y'all this new generation is different, they are different. Like, and I know people say that with every generation.
No.
No.
it's
After
ever
COVID,
growing, ever changing.
right
transition.
after
That's true.
COVID, this generation went far left. So it's
Well, and that's gonna be who's gonna come on.
Yes,
You're
start
gonna
up
do
too.
this.
And then you're gonna meet Brutishly Queer. So Brutishly Queer is led by a man of trans experience who has culminated and cultivated safe spaces for the culture of trans experience and GNC being gender nonconforming.
yeah.
And so when you want to like tap into what Pride in Houston looks like,
Yes.
it looks like people who have been marginalized, disenfranchised, and literally ostracized
Right.
coming together to say you deserve to be here. And
That's
so
awesome.
I want to make sure
You're
I
so
connect.
inclusive.
I am.
Yeah.
And that's probably why I'm not always included. But when I have access to a space where the platform is positive and sincere and the people are aligned, this works every time. The first segment and the end of it. Like thank you both very much for not only pushing that for us as a concept, little small baby, but then maybe time to for us to come and share it. We got a solution. We got to have one, so you know we're gonna maximize the opportunity and see what's point. And guys, let me say this again. Rebecca and I have always tried to create a space here where we are going to be allies and we are going to be a welcoming place and space for all Houstonians who are trying to make a positive mark.